It is the plan. It absolutely is the plan, because Aldous Huxley was in on the big think tank meetings with his brother Julian Huxley, both descended from the Darwin clan, by the way.
He gave his last speech before they probably killed him in '62. He just laid it all out at Berkeley. He said, this is all the plan. This is real. And he said, because we're so smart, you listening in the audience won't even be able to stop them.
That's right. And it's a small group of men, very powerful, rich, powerful men, with the use of pharmacology and a good plan, could literally take over and rule the entire planet to their satisfaction.
Why do you think over 30% of police officers admit that they're on steroids?
Yes.
They actually need it because they've been gelded. I want the police who serve this to know, you are being chemically attacked, chemically lobotomized. Why do you serve the New World Order? Because you're drugged right now and under a trance from television.
And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
All right, I said I'd take calls today when Alan Watt was on with us. We're going to open the phones up here in just a few minutes at 1-800-259-9231. Dustin in PA, Justin in Montana, Mark in Maui. Wish I was there, but I can't ever fly there. I'm not going to be naked body scanned. No, I'm going to still fly, but I'm not going to let them scan me. Ken in Mass and others. What do you think you're doing? Because you're given authority and a 10 badge, you're going to put me in a naked body scanner they wouldn't even scan Iraqis with? And I was talking to Mancow Muller on his syndicated show. They tried to do a bunch of stuff to him. The TSA guy marched up and started going, with his wife and children. And he said, well, talk to me. The guy said, And he said, talk to me. And the guy said, that's it. You're missing your flight. I want you to put that book. He had Atlas Shrugged in his hand on the scanner through the thing. And he said, put him in the box, put him in there. And they were like, you're missing your flight. So he started yelling, this is a police state. This is wrong. This is a fraud. And they said, get out of here. Get out of here. They didn't want to scare the other slaves. They want to see you dominated, but not see you stand up. Alan Watt.
Oh, that's absolutely true. The last thing you want is to make a coherent, accurate statement and shouting out to the rest of the public what's actually happening. You've got to shout out sometimes and break the spell and tell them what is actually happening here, and make them indignant and afraid.
I've also noticed, I want your comment on this, at Disneyland or at all the other major theme parks, things like SeaWorld, you pay for your ticket, and then you walk up and they go, oh, you have to handprint with that ticket you bought. And then I refuse and they let me through as soon as I start yelling. And everyone else, it's the same thing at the airport. You buy your ticket, you go through and they go, body scanner, put your kids in there. And then and all these photos on the news, we were showing them yesterday, when they put these women in the scanners, it shows the guys smiling, looking at their naked bodies.
Of course, yeah.
Because that humiliation is important.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And there's no doubt about it. They already see themselves. They can't keep anything secret that's on the net. They've had so many scandals in Britain with Social Security numbers being sold by the millions from the government to private companies. You can believe they're going to have the next big thing is going to be porno, new porn across the internet worldwide of everybody's body scanner silhouette and all the rest of it.
And then they'll have an investigation and reward whoever allowed it to happen. In fact, they're already saying the Hollywood bodies are going to go for big cash.
Yeah. And people are obsessed today with sex as well because it's been promoted over any rationale meaning of sex itself, or even the fact that sexual bonding between two people used to mean a good, healthy family would come out of it. Now, not the promiscuity you have today, and it's all taken so lightly on television with the reality shows, which is all about that. No bonding at all, just have sex. So that's why they're hitting the public now with this. They've degraded the public from the last generation to the present generation, and really they've been degrading the public since the 50s onwards quite steadily. And
that way the man and woman don't stay together and the state ends up getting the children effectively.
Absolutely. And that's, again, what they said it has to do a long time ago. If we can get the children separated from the parents through scientific indoctrination from kindergarten onwards, that their minds are ours.
But then if you try to homeschool your kids, they come and arrest you now with trumped-up, made-up stuff.
Well, in the Italian newspapers a few months ago, the Prime Minister of Italy said there's an outright ban now on all homeschooling. He said the reason is, he says, every child must have the exact same indoctrination. Those were the words.
Yeah, here they call it socialization.
Yep. It's indoctrination into the new PC terminology to alter your way of thinking about things for that generation to grow up in.
And anyone that doubts that standardized programming they're being given so they can have their social control, California 2 years ago had their court rule. It got overturned in a federal court, and we read it here on air. It said the state actually owns your children. You're not allowed to homeschool.
Yes, that's right. And Hillary Clinton, too, ran on that ticket as well, that she would abolish all homeschooling. It's a must-be for all the big top communists, I'll loosely call them communists, for the world, to bring in the system of standardized...
It would be better that your children get no education at all than to be put in public schools. Go ahead.
Absolutely, because, again, for their wonderful utopia of socialism and a passive society, the children all must parrot the same things, all believe the same things, or having sex with an animal is good, and all this is all what's coming up in the very near...
And take 3 years ago. Yeah. The new Freedom Initiative got leaked. Bush signed it 4 years ago. The internal documents from the federal board came out. This was in the Associated Press, but like it was a good thing, they said, we've got 20% of kids on government-issued drugs now. By 2015, we want 50%, and then in the decade after that, 100% on drugs. 100% with forced inoculations, 100% on the drugs.
And those drugs will be for life. So you have a whole generation on drugs for life, just like the movie we mentioned there, the THX movie, just like that. And you'll get put into a workplace, you'll be tested for your urine all day long, you'll get blood tests to make sure you've taken all your proper drugs and medications. There'll be punishments if you haven't, and that will become normal. Yeah.
And what's sick about it is you read UN and government documents that we've covered in detail here. There's literally thousands of them. And then everybody kept saying I should see the movie Equilibrium, and I saw it, and that's actually what they're setting up. They just throw in our faces what they're doing.
Yeah. It's also predictive programming because predictive programming is a strange thing because when you're being entertained, you don't realize you're also being indoctrinated with an idea. And you're not passing judgment while you're watching entertainment because the sensor part of your brain is not involved. So therefore it stays in your subconscious. And then when you hear it's coming out into reality, they're actually going to do this, it's familiar to you, and therefore it's not such a big deal. You go along with it. That's what predictive programming is all about.
We know 40 years ago they had these passive MRI body scanners, and now they're saying, oh, we've got to scan into your body. It took them 2 days to do that after I said they would because that's their program. Remember Total Recall with Schwarzenegger and all these other science fiction movies where when you go through the airport, men in black ski mask run you through a system that scans your naked body.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the book that it came from was written in 1966.
I just can't believe. I mean, I knew it was going to happen. I knew it would start accelerating. But, Alan, do you ever just pinch yourself to witness it and to know this is just the beginning?
I'm never shocked, to be honest with you. I know what's to come up. I know the next 50 stages is to come up in the next 20 years. So I'm never shocked. I've read their books. I know how they work. I know they keep the pulse on the public. They know when the public are now ready for the next move. And this is how I just
can't believe how pathetic the public are.
You've got to realize, too, that 87%, as I say, from World War I on, with the same tests, 87% never really disbelieve the major media. They never question the whys. They believe government's telling them the truth. They can't believe that big lies are told to get us into wars and stuff. That's just too big a lie, so it must be true. And those are the ones they concentrate on. That's why they picked, by the way, democracy. Democracy is not ruled by the mob. It's that the mob will always be easily conditioned by the minority who rule them.
Alan, go over the next several phases.
Well, the Copenhagen Agreement, what they agreed to was the most important thing of all. And I knew that they would, and I mentioned it. I said they'll agree to the next phases of the upgraded Copenhagen Agreement.
And then leave it nebulous so they can do whatever they wanted.
It's a blank board. They can go in there and they've all agreed to sign on to whatever is put on that, and they will. That's what it's about, yeah.
But we are forcing them to not have everybody sign on to it, so it's illustrated that it's pure tyranny.
Yes, as long as it's noted somewhere in the history books that there are protesters with another view on all of this, and who can cohesively put their view over in a good format, then that goes down in the history books.
Notice how with the green tyranny, they always try to make it unified. Everyone agrees. No one disagreed. Not one scientist disagreed. And it's just all a lie.